It's time for Monterey's Cookin' with Chef John Pisto. On this edition of Monterey Cooking, John Pisto is going to show us how to cook crab pasta. Now, we've already done a lot of the prep work. John's already sliced everything up, so he's going to... What are we doing here, John? What's happening?
We're going to do fresh crab that we've already picked. That's here. I got some claw meat. We got some body meat.
Now, would that frozen crabs what you'd buy, or
again, if you're gonna do it right, get the fresh crab.
Okay.
Take the time to pick it. Even buy the fresh cooked. You can get you get that down on the wharf. It's fresh cooked and begin smelling it, making sure it's nice and fresh. Then to pick it yourself. Bring it to your area.
And you just break the legs off.
That's it. Break the legs.
I knew a lone guy that used to do that.
Okay, and then again, cut through here.
Okay, now what you're doing, you're cutting right through. Where the legs came out, the knuckles. Right. You just go right through the knuckles.
Right.
Oh, okay.
This will give you easy access to the meat. And what you do is, when you handle this after, we don't want to handle this too much because we want the meat to stay in chunks. If you play with it too much with your hands, it's going to break down, it's going to get real stringy. So you're going to be real delicate with this. You can start this is the body meat. You just pull it apart. And, this is fun. You get the family involved. Get the kids. We have a 7-year-old daughter. We get her in here cooking, too. And this is the stuff the kids can do. They get used to eating these kind of things.
So you just kind of pull it apart and...
Mm-hmm.
A real good thing to remember is when you're cooking at home, you ought to have a garbage pail with prepared to put all your stuff in, right?
If only to save your marriage. You see this part? This is the tip. It's one of the claws. Use it as a probe. We're going to start with a little onion and a little garlic.
Now, once again, the onion, you coarse chopped onion,
yeah.
And then you mash the garlic and peel it and chop
exactly.
it. You don't want to press it and make it. Again, why? Why not
just
the garlic?
So that the flavor just doesn't become too pronounced in the garlic.
Okay.
So it'll be there, but it's not going to overpower the whole dish. Because we're going to have several different varieties of things in here.
Okay.
We have here sun-dried tomatoes. Now I get the dried tomatoes, reconstitute them in warm water for about 20 minutes, and you have to put at least 5% vinegar, and that's what gives it its tanginess.
Now,
they're pretty salty as they are anyway.
So the option is you buy sun-dried tomatoes. You can either leave them that way, or you prefer to put them with water and vinegar and get them wet again,
You
right?
can only use these tomatoes if you buy them in the dry state. They're a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
And what you do is you reconstitute them. You have to reconstitute them. You can't use them in that dry state. They'll be too stringy and leathery. So you put them in water for at least 20 minutes, half hour. Put a little vinegar in it, and they come right back.
Oh, okay.
Now,
Right.
these are kind of tender.
I'll try one. Just,
They got a nice
wait a minute. That's
flavor.
good. I don't like that one. Let me see. Let's find one. Ooh, this looks good.
We're going to put a little tomato. We got some green olives. You can use black olives. We got some fresh tomato.
It's almost like candy.
Aren't they good?
Okay, so olives,
Olives,
tomatoes.
tomato. And then we're going to finish it off. And here I'm using, this is a butter substitute. You can use fresh butter if you're not worried about your cholesterol, or if you don't eat butter all week, and if you want to have something that's very delicious, then use the real stuff.
What about margarine? Does that work?
Margarine will work too. But you want to get something that has a little bit of that butter flavor. Now we're just browning this just a little bit. Let's put this in there now.
Now, I see in a lot of restaurants that they use sun-dried tomatoes. They're not this big a chunk. A lot of people chop them smaller, or what's?
However the cook wants to do it.
Okay.
Preferences of the cook.
Now, here, what kind of tomatoes are you using?
I'm using Roma tomatoes.
Roma tomatoes.
Only because they hold up real good when you're cooking with them. We're going to add the olives now.
Now, those olives you can go to any store and get marinated olives,
And
right?
use black olive. You can use Kalamata. Don't use what I call the pretend olives, those ones that have no flavor to them. But use a Kalamata olive. You can use the dried olive, the oil cured. These here I made myself.
Well, but most people, don't have that. So a good olive, though, is what you're saying.
Good olive. It's olive that has some flavor.
Marinated in oil and flavor.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now,
Okay, now what do we got here? What else is
Now
going
we're
in?
going to put some, these are onion. This is Italian flat leaf parsley.
Flat leaf parsley. That's one of your themes, right?
That's the flavor.
Flat leaf parsley.
And then we're going to put a little bit
Now,
hot pepper. This is crushed red pepper.
you have to be careful when you put that in there. I mean, when you say a little bit, what was it? Just a little...
I'd say maybe a quarter of a teaspoon.
Okay.
Or half a teaspoon. And then we're going to put a little salt and pepper. Add just a little salt to it. You can see this has a lot of color. And I'm going to use capellini.
Well, capellini what?
Capellini is also known as angel hair. It's very fine pasta, cooks real fast. You can see it's very, very fine. You see?
Oh, yeah. Okay, can you see that? Look at that, man. That's almost
fine.
like thread.
Yeah, that'll cook real quickly. And this is, we don't want this to cook, we don't want to make a real heavy sauce out of this. We want this to kind of be chunky. We'll add some green onion to it now.
Okay, so there's green onion chopped. Oh, man.
Now it needs a little bit of liquid. And what I'm going to do is, we cooked our crabs in this before. I'm going to add some of that water to it.
In other words, what you're saying, when you cook things, don't throw away the water. Keep the water for...
It's a stock, really.
Oh.
At this point, this is a stock. Okay. We want that at high heat.
Now, let me ask you a question about heat here. Now, I know you're cooking on a gas range, right?
Yes.
What about people? A lot of people at home have electric ranges. What do you recommend people do?
Well, you know, electric range compared to the gas range, you have to get used to it. I mean, if I'm used to always cooking on gas, if I had to cook on electric, I'd end up burning some things for a while until you get used to it. You know, it's either too hot or it's too low. Of course, gas is, I think, the easiest.
Okay, but so when people at home, when you're at home and you're cooking, you got to know what your electric range does. When you cook, though, you cook high heat. Is
Always
that correct?
high, always high.
Okay. Now, if you were going to tell somebody at home,
Good point.
what are you talking about electric? Is that medium high on their electric, or is that high on their electric?
This probably would be medium high.
Okay.
I think. I think the elements get a little hotter than the gas would.
So what you might be doing then, basically at home, is keep your electric range at somewhere between medium and medium high. Mm-hmm. Okay. That kind of gives people an idea.
Good.
All right.
Okay, we're going to give it a little bit more.
Again, that's just the water that the crab.
That's all.
That was live crab that went in there.
Exactly.
And boiling water with salt. Mm-hmm. And now you're using that. Oh, right.
As a stock. You can use clam juice if you don't have that. That'll work. Maybe a little wine would be okay. But you see, this is starting to make a sauce already. You see, just starting to form.
Okay.
Now we're going to thicken that with butter or our butter substitute, and then toss our crab meat in right at the very end, and the pasta dish will be finished.
Okay, this is pretty much cooked down where it's supposed to be. What are we talking here? Maybe 5 minutes?
Oh, what was it, Mike? 5, 6, 7 minutes or so?
All right.
Just enough for the tomato to break down a little bit. You want the onions to stay still intact. The olives, of course, will stay intact.
And watery, right?
And we keep adding water. We want to have just a little bit of a sauce tendency going here. Otherwise, your pasta's going to get gummy on you.
Okay.
So
now here's something I got to figure out.
Okay.
What's the secret of cooking pasta? I mean, the paste itself before you put the sauce on it to make it. You hear the term al dente.
Okay.
What are we talking about?
Number one, you got to have plenty of water, and you got to have plenty of salt. This is very heavily salted.
Okay.
Lots salty enough.
Lots of water. And with salt in it.
And plenty of salt. Okay. Now this pasta is going to cook in a matter of just minutes. Okay. Spread it out.
Spread it out. Okay. Now,
And
because this is real thin pasta, it will cook faster than if it was spaghetti or whatever else, fettuccine or whatever.
Absolutely. This is going to cook in a matter of 2 minutes.
Now, do you just get a feel after a while of how it feels, so you know it's done?
Yeah. What we're going to start doing in maybe a minute here, we're going to start checking it. Just grab one.
Grab one. Okay.
Now you can see
it's limp, but it still has a little bit of.
Yeah.
So
you buy it, still raw.
But you know what?
Well,
it tastes good because of the water.
You can taste the crab
Oh,
flavor
man.
in there.
Okay. Boy, there's a noodle that turned into a crab's
Wow,
leg.
how do you like that, folks? This is the real stuff, I'll tell you. That's crab stock, all right. Okay, it's getting closer.
Okay. But the secret is don't overcook the pasta, right,
Not
John?
overcook it. And what we'll do is we'll plunge it here. Try this one.
Okay.
This is getting closer. Almost.
Almost.
How long has it been? 30 seconds? 40 seconds?
Minute and a half, I don't know. But you shouldn't be walking away from your pasta.
No. In the meantime, we're about, I'd say, over half done. I'm going to start putting my butter substitute in. We're going to use 1/4 of a cube, and we smash it up. And if you could stir that for me.
Oh, I get to do something. All right. I just kind of fold it?
Just kind of fold it. And we're
And
going to
probably it's a good idea not to put my finger on the pan there.
Well,
it's hotter than...
if you want to burn it. Okay.
I'm advancing, folks. John would never let me touch anything before.
Well, you're a hell of a student, let me tell you.
Too bad Sal isn't here, you know?
Yeah, who is that Sal?
I don't know, but if he was here, he'd love this.
Okay, I think we're real close now.
Real close?
You see how it still has a little bite to it? That's the al dente.
All right, okay. So it's not totally limp soft. It's crisp but not crisp.
Exactly. Now this is going to cook.
Now I
Continue
know
to cook.
the butter substitute is still in lumps, but that's
It's okay.
cool.
It's gonna melt by the time we finish here. Now you see what we're doing?
Okay, so you're putting the pasta into the sauce.
We're not draining it. Now this is a very big
Why?
deal here because this pasta needs to have a thin style sauce. Otherwise, it's going to gum up on you. So we
don't drain it.
Nope. We're going to go right from the pot.
Now, John,
sauce.
if you were using like a linguine or something, would you drain that?
Yes, I would.
Okay,
Exactly.
but this, because it's so thin. In other words, angel hair, again, that's some of the toughest pasta to cook, right?
Yes, that's the one most restaurants make a mess out of.
Well, we're concerned about at home, you know.
Exactly.
What you're saying is maybe at home, instead of using angel hair, you might want to use a linguine or a fettuccine.
I don't know. This is pretty easy. I think anybody could do this.
Sure, yeah.
We keep adding a little water
Okay.
to make sure the sauce remains liquid enough. We keep stirring. See how this incorporates in there? Do you smell it now?
Oh, man.
Okay. This is going to stay very hot. And now I'm going to put this in the next pot. I need the other bowl, please. The big one.
Okay.
And we're going to fold the crab in now.
Now this is crab meat that's been
This is
already
all
been
the
picked.
crab. Okay, and I'm going to just go like this with it.
Okay, can you guys see that? Camera, Mr. Camera. Here, want me to? Okay, here we go. We're coming over here. Oh, yeah.
We got that there. And now, if I had that spoon, and let's just kind of incorporate everything very gently.
Now this would serve about how many people, John?
You can
I mean,
serve
normal people, not somebody
normal
that's...
Italians, probably 3. No, I'm kidding.
I mean,
no, I'm not.
this would feed. If
This would be good for it. As an appetizer, anywhere from 6 to 8.
Okay.
And if it's a main dish, you can figure 4 to 6.
All right. So depending on how elaborate you want to make your meal, and man, oh man, does that look
it's
good?
This is a very light dish. See, the sauce is it's incorporated into the pasta. It's not going to be super heavy. And I would not put any cheese on this either.
Really?
Nope.
Okay.
And that's ready to go.
Okay, check this out, huh? This is crab pasta a la John Pisto, and it smells incredible.